morning. How's it going, guys? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Really glad you made it. Really appreciate you all. I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Happy Friday. Thanks for morning here. You know, some of you might have been like, why the fuck would I moor up next to that thing? Look at what happened. Is frickin' fell right through the porch. He did. I'm still, that's most of my life, to be honest with you, is the story of my rise, my fall, and the rise again. Recovery's going good. It is. I was able to rip out my third-story staircase. I fell between the top of the staircase and the deck, a little triangle piece that had rotted out. That's what I was standing on and fell. So I was left with this stairway to heaven, this third-story staircase that just went into nothing. And it was beautiful as an art project, but my dog kept trying to climb up there. He didn't like the idea that the porch was gone. I think he was suffering a little bit of denial from it. It's kind of freaking me out. So I still cannot put shoes on. That's really hard. Socks, I do have 2 socks on. Right now I'm talking to you. I'm speaking to you in 2 socks, which is good. That's my PT right now. Is actually trying to get things on my feet. And I just find it astounding that I do not have the ability to wear shoes, but I was able to pull down that porch, that staircase, that third-story staircase. I did it with about 7 precision Sawzall cuts and a lot of really sketchy tying of ropes around things and standing behind corners and pulling the rope as hard as I could and hearing this just super loud crash and then repeating that process over and over again. There was a couple times when I was working on that. Shit, I'm not muted, am I? There was a couple times when I was muted, when I was kind of wondering if maybe the porch wasn't done killing me as I'm standing underneath this staircase that I really thought was going to come down. The first cuts I made, I thought for sure that would make it come down, and when it didn't cut down, it's kind of like, damn, this is now really dangerous. There's like this giant porch that's above the only entrance to the house. So the dangers continue. Right now, there are no railings on my third-story balcony or my second-story balcony, which means that the moment that I walk or open the door or come in and out of the house, I am instantly dilated by the lack of handrails, which I cannot think of being a more perfect kind of sort of going back to Dagobah, right? And like meeting your demons right after you were to fall through the porch, to be greeted by the fact that there are now no handrails on any level. I think it's kind of cool. It's really putting me back in that game, and I'm there. I'm really thankful. The healing is going really, really well. I couldn't believe I could pull that porch down. Actually, right now, I really want to dig a hole, people. I just want to dig a hole. I just want to dig 3 holes. That's it. And the bending of the back that's required to do that is just, it is beyond me right now. I could do a lot of physical things. I don't think I'm going to be able to dig a hole for a while. And until I can dig a hole, there's not going to be any handrails. And as long as there's no handrails, it is just like Dilation City around here. Especially with my dog. Very, very dilating to be wandering around like that. It's a good thing that I live alone. It is. Today is Snake Oil Day. We're going to talk about that. Let me see. Jason moved to South Central Washington. 2 hours from Portland, Vancouver. You're too far away. You don't need shoes. I could use shoes right now. the digging of the shovel would help if you had shoes. James, is your name Splat or Matt now? Ha. Hope you're feeling better one day at a time. No, name's still James. I get it though. By landing, did it change it to Splat? Maybe. No. If anything, I landed. It changed it to. Holy fuck! I'm even more James. Like it pounded James deeper into me. If that was even possible, there's even like more James there. That's how it feels to me. And I don't have those Viking spasms anymore. The Viking lady, she has stopped singing for the most part. I'm able to stretch with abandon now. It's fantastic. Still can't bend my leg all the way. I don't think this is actually why you're here. And I almost didn't do a show. Because this is probably more of a good moaning show. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the show. My name's James. I'd like to moan to you today. I'd like to begin with a slow, steady bitching about my lower back. Let's see. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh my goodness, my back is hurting. Yes, I can feel it now. It's very much in pain. It's stridently upright in its crooked bent-overness. It is blathering on about wanting a cracker, but you know that it would not be able to even chew it right now. Yeah, and that's my welcome to this excerpt of Good Moaning, and we will move through that now. So if you guys are still here, I should not have devoted this much time to this. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm really working on getting back into things. I really am. I got this. This is hilarious. I got Project Mars, a technical tale by Dr. Werner von Braun in the mail. And the never-before-printed science fiction novel by the original Rocket Man, Dr. Werner von Braun, combines technical fact with a human storyline in the way that only a true dreamer can realize. This novel takes the reader through the entire adventure, the planning for a Mars mission, the building of the mighty spaceships, the long journey, the amazing discoveries made on Mars, and the return home. Gary Holt, former chief instructor of rocket pilots for the U.S. Space Force. We have a Space Force now, by the way. Leads a 10-ship multinational team to Mars. A Mars with one surprising difference from all other Marses. After spending months exploring the Red Planet, brings his mission home a complete success. And as you peruse through the gates of Project Mars, I'm reminded rather astutely that in the center is a centerfold section, and the centerfold section has 4-color glossy pictures, and it's all about the technical achievements getting there. Yes, Elon is one of the main characters in this book. The Elon, the man who dares to dream, and their rectilinear orbits, the hyperbolic asteroids and comets that are used. It's a dust storm, right? Well, man, we were out gathering rocks, because it's Mars, and you go frickin' gather rocks, and there we were gathering rocks, and this dust storm happened. It was a close one. We barely made it back to the pod. Did you say pod? Yeah. Wow. So if you go to Mars, you get to stay in a pod? Fuck yeah, dude. You're in Mars. You're staying in a pod. How cool is that? And you really start to tap into the snake oil of this whole thing. You really do. You really do. Because I'm going to tell you something. Who's going to say no to, hey, what do you want to do today? Let's go look for rocks. Let's go look for rocks, man. Let's spend, Like $100 billion. Go look for rocks, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yes, I am in charge of the people who look for rocks. I stay up here, closer to the vehicle, because we came all the way from from that pod right there. And yeah, hey, I found some rocks over here, guys. Look at these rocks over here. This is all it takes. This is all it takes because the snake oil medicine show is not the fault of the snake oiler. No, it's the fault of the audience. Yeah, the suppository is going to dock with the rectilinear hole in the rear of the silver shaft. Who's going to say no to that? Who's going to say no to that, right? And how they're always, from the time that it was science fiction, we ended up using the exact design. That the science fiction design turned out to be the most efficient mode of travel. That it turned out that the science fiction of a space race between two planets just happened to coincide 7 years before the most top secret dual space missions were plastered all over the newspaper, Russia and America at the same time. Assembly of the fleet in Martian orbit for return to Earth, right? You know, we have to assemble this stuff in space. Why? Because it'll take a lot more money to do that. It's how the snake oil works. It's a snake oil medicine show. You start to realize how expensive it is to doubt that, because you'd be pissing on the dreams of all of humanity. You'd be pissing on America's dreams. You'd be doubting America. We weren't fooled. No, we buy the snake oil that we look for. We go to Walmart and we're looking for the snake oil, and we pick the thing on the shelf that most matches that. It's our appetite. There's snake oil in the water, right? The water itself is snake oil. Watch the water. You got to watch the water. And you end up in this dull, methodic hypnotism where you're just staring out in the water. It's like, what are you doing? There's snake oil out there. I just can't see it yet, but there's snake oil out there. How'd it get there? How'd it go? Doubting this was expensive. Because if we can't go to Mars, if we can't go to Moon, then what are we doing? Like, I mean, we're like limited here. We can go back into exploring the ocean. That's hard. I don't want to do that. I like this pretend rocket stuff. Did you see what? Look at the centerfold here. Look at how shiny look at all the rocks. Look at all the rocks we could be finding, you know? James, they're not rocks, they're minerals. And I think until you can learn how to respect them, then maybe you shouldn't be doubting the mission to Mars. Because there's minerals over there. There's gold. There's frankincense. And there's myrrh in those comets. And if we had that here, then our life would be better. If we had that here, we would have our medicine. We would have that. And you crushing that, it's just you trying to be dark. You're trying to be dark in the world is what you're doing. So stop doubting. Stop questioning the science fiction novel. Stop questioning the science fictional novel because it has all the technical details. And it does. Did you know most of this book is actually math? I'll show you. Not most. Most of it's words. But a good bit of this is math. There's a lot of numbers. I'm just looking for some pages where it just goes on and on and on and on about just fucking nothing. Just like, well, you know, the reason why this one theory failed about the, here it is. Look at all this fucking math. Here it comes. This is, from here back is a scientific appendix inside a sci-fi novel. Inside a sci-fi novel, that thick of appendix. Launch tables, orbital launch tables based on physical units. The Sirius vessel. Guys, this is serious. We're taking this very seriously. The third stage maneuver of ascent. It's the entire ending of the book is just the subsonic aerodynamic assumptions for third stage entry. The rectilineal orbits of the skin heating during glide of third stage. Do you see the snake oil there? It's all math. It's math oil. The glide path. Don't tell me this is sci-fi and everyone out there understands the difference. Number 14, buoyancy. All three stages float when empty, as may be shown by a simple comparison between their tank volumes and their empty weights. Landing of the booster parachutes. To keep the chutes from the two boosters within reasonable dimensions, it is advisable to permit a high velocity of descent and to annihilate by power rockets the residual velocity immediately prior to impact. This measure also proves favorable for the weight standpoint. For terminal velocity of descent for both boosters of velocity 1 is equal to 5 times 10 to the 10 cubed centimeters per second. And then they go into, here's one formula for the chute opening. AP1, 2 times GOW way CD. Then you take a compact disc, then you take a YO and a VI, 2.98. This is the entire book. Burning time, accelerator time, accelerant weight. Path of sun, helical exhaust velocity and specific impulse of thermodynamic calculations. It's snake oil, and it's all the numbers. It always has all the numbers. And when you listen to someone just droning on and on about just stupid hypothetical shit, you know it's snake oil. But if you doubt yourself, you think, well, if I was smarter, I'm sure that what this person is saying, you're making sense. And no, stop. Stop. That's what got us here. What got us here is that the first time you, and I'm talking to your entire epigenetic line, that the first time you started hearing shit like that, you doubted yourself and you were just like, well, I'm sure that what he said is profound because he's got these words in it. And clearly there's some multi-syllables going on there. Come on, man. He said cubed, right? He's touching on things that are really obscure, things that I can't actually reference myself. So it's got to be right. And the snake oil is flowing through you. It came in through the front door. It came in through that weakness you had for it. It just came in. Every single part of this world is here to test you, to test your permeations, to secrete its oil and to see which venom takes you, to see which ones you accept. Whether its teeth be made of stainless steel, hollow point stainless steel syringe, or a hollow point stainless steel bullet, whether it be lead, whether it be aluminum, whether it be all the things that we fall for in this world. The snake oil that everyone here is interested in giving you healthy food at all times, and no one would ever corroborate to put atrazine in that shit. No, that's for the bugs. No, we did that to get rid of the bugs. We didn't want the bugs to mess up your food. That's why. Snake oil is what we want. It's what we want it to be. And it's so obvious now. 2013. There's a satellite view of Astana. And there's a snake. Right there on Google Images, there's the snake. And then 5 years later, the snake is a bird. You can still see the snake in there a little bit. But it's a bird. It freaking does that. It just decides to go back to the last slide right in the middle of a point. And then, ugh. And then this is today. Now it's shimmering. Stop moving. It's shimmering right now. This is Astana today. You know, when I say today, it's 2022. And even what we're calling the satellite image it's a satelloon. It's not even a satellite. It's a snake oil. And that crow, that cockerel on top of Notre Dame, it died. And now there's something else. It's just pulsing. And that's, let's see, 2018. So 2023. Next year would be 10 years this thing's been doing this thing right in front of us. 10 years. But we're watching other stuff, you know. There's a lot of stuff to watch. The water, you got to watch that. There's all kinds of stuff to watch. You know. What's in the beak? Good question. I think you're looking at Quetzalcoatl. That's what. Put that back on, James. I think you're looking at Quetzalcoatl. That's what's in the beak. The bird landed on the rock, and with a snake, devouring the snake, and a new city was born on that spot. This is where the people were told to go. Excuse me. Oh, thank you. It was you will go north, and you will wait for the bird with the snake, and you will make your new home there, and that's Astana, which is not even Astana anymore. Now it's called Zur Sultan. Why is that? Oh, come on. Why did you make me? There we go. And right across the water from that snake is the presidential palace. And these used to have O's and ones on them. What am I talking about? I'm sorry I don't have an image of this, but if you read my article in Astana on JTrue, actually you'll see. But this, where these green is, to the left and the right of this palace, used to have a countdown clock. It was like 011001. And this is a replica of the Capitol, I think. Or that of the White House. It's like the replica of it. So it's like I want you to think about the Hashem River as the passing over into Aquarius. And that this Columbia, this theme is supposed to die. This is the old world. And it had a countdown. And the dying of the dollar is the symbolism of that. And there's a lot of history all the way back here. But look at this as a timeline. You're getting to this White House. That's America. It's already fallen. We're just living in denial. We're underneath that third-story staircase going, what if I cut right here? Holy shit, it's still standing. Damn. I had no idea that was going to happen. And then when you pass through this phoenix, you enter into the Temple of Light. You enter into the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. And that's the pyramid on the back of the dollar. So again, if you go back here, America will be sacrificed. America will be sacrificed to this new direction, the vector crossing over Aquarius. Quetzalcoatl, that's the actual original name of America, by the way, is you will form the new home where the serpent is bound by the eagle on the rock. And from there, look at this. All signs point to take you right into the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation. The New World Order. It's right there. And the four directions, these underground veins, hit that. And then look at the little sperm guy. Where's he headed? Right? He's going back right into the same place. And it's all just right here. It's just right here. And there's a lot more. There's the Masonic symbolism of this is of course pretty freaking dope too. I think most of that's back here. And the towers, like, for example, before you head to that and cross the island, when you're back here, you are staring through these giant Masonic towers on either side. And from Lovers Park, things like that. So the entire city's been erected to foretell what happened in the past before it happened. The city is honoring what's already set into stone as will happening. And I think that after the death card is finished playing, the Pied Piper drowning in this river, this new world begins. And the symbolism of what's ahead sets in. You're looking at a turtle. You're looking at a scarab. Do you see the scarab over here? Might be hard to see. It's like the base of the phoenix inverted. But you're seeing something more built into the land. And the only way this would work is if everybody agreed. And the only way everybody would agree is if a lot of people weren't here, one. And two, because it would just be better. And the only way you can guarantee that everybody would think that it was better is if you just made it horrible. Is if you just made it worse. So worse, right? And the worse you can make it, then the better people will unanimously say, yeah, let's make it better. Let's make it better. And I don't think it'll be a fake better. This will ultimately bring about the end of mystery. So it's just so perfectly planned. And when you look at cities like this, you just know we've done this before. Not only do you know you've done this before, but you're starting to realize why Columbia is there, why the Statue of Liberty is there, why you have these symbols that point to it. And someone just wants you to know. Maybe they don't even want you to know. Maybe you're just seeing it, you know. I think that they want you to know. And I think that this is built for Project Bluebeam. I'm not convinced that Project Bluebeam is here to annihilate anyone. I think that the more the snake oil, you're going to have to up the snake oil a lot to finish the death card. Which means that the discernment will continue until Luciferianism improves, I think. It's just so weird, right? But it's until you find your own light, you are going to continuously look for snake oil. You know that. You see it in your parents. You see it in your families. You see it in your friends. You know that. You know that. And so the only choice is just to see through this so much to where it just becomes painful to ever not see it. And that's the That's the new septus. That's the new direction. That's the new world order. All the lies, all the psychopathy, all the hyenas are not going to survive in the new world order. The 1984 fear porn, which is totally legit, that is requiring itself. There will be pockets of that have already formed. You already can't cross borders right now, so those pockets are actually occupying borders right now. They're controlling the flow of people. Those systems will deteriorate. They will collapse upon themselves. It will not be in a time that's fitting for you. They will not be like looking out for you. Hey, you seem like a really great conscious guy. I just don't want you to be collapsed by this rat nest over here as we obliterate and cannibalize ourselves because we're buying into snake oil. The snake oil of security. That is going to continue to happen. The Georgia Guidestones are telling you that. Every single thing that you do in this world is telling you that. I was in the grocery store the other day and I realized that place, I don't know how many square feet a grocery store has. 5,000? It's probably a lot more than that, isn't it? It's probably like 10,000 square feet. It's probably like 20,000. I'm going to say in 15,000 square feet of that grocery store, for the first time, it was really, really obvious to me. It was like, wow, the only food I can actually eat here that I know is not poison is this little box from this little thing that says organic to this little line. And you could count on your hands how many vegetables are in this 15,000 square foot building. And you start to get what the percentages are, how much the culling that they're even aiming for. Do you understand? You understand? The snake oil is right there. It's people that just want to believe. Oh no, the government would never. They never let us get poison in our food. Are you kidding? You kidding? Not after they just gave me my 4th booster. There's no way they'd do that. That's the snake oil. And it makes it easier because when you're in the shopping center, you hear the music, right? Dun, 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 dun. And you're just picking up squash. You're just picking up raw sprayed atrazine. And you're taking it home. You're like, I'm going to frickin' cook this. I'm going to make spaghetti. I'm going to feed my whole family with atrazine right now. And they're going to stop using pronouns. It's going to be fucking great. And the entire time, you know what I'm going to hear? You're just carting your way through the 15,000 square feet. You have no fucking idea that there's this one little tiny pocket that just has just a few berries in it. And those berries are the only ones that you could probably get away with eating from here. It's snake oil medicine, Joe. And it's the same medicine that keeps you believing that the government is here to make sure you're not poisoned, which is hilarious when you say it now. The government is here to make sure that you're not poisoned. The government's here to make sure that you just thrive and that you have as many babies as you want. And they would never limit that. You have freedom. Don't you understand? You have freedom. It's their job to make sure that you just spread. Would never do anything against you. Are you kidding? And it's the same kind of snake oil. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, and it's got a bunch of technical details. Well, according to John Hopkins, James, the average lifespan has increased by 4 days in the last 80 years. So that just takes your entire theory and just blows it out of the water, because clearly we're living longer now than we ever have. And the snake oil is, after I read you 128 new autoimmune diseases, you're like, yeah, well, it's because we've gotten better at diagnosing. Yeah, there hasn't been a change. It's just that we've gotten better at diagnosing. And no, everyone's always been autistic, James. living in colonial life, yeah, people were already autistic. They were always this way. We just see them now, that's all. Back then in the Revolutionary War, they didn't have pronouns. They had the same issues. It's not the atrazine. That's snake oil talk. It's not like there's like a city that's like has it like laid out in their architecture. God, you freaking paranoid schizo. You know, James, do you have a chemical imbalance? I think your chemicals are imbalanced. And don't ask me which one. The fact you would ask that, I'm just really disappointed in you, James. I thought that you had more concern for mental health. Oh, pompous scientism acolyte voice. Thank you, Zerkov. Yes. We have a table we'd like to read you. It shows the rectilinear velocity of a laden satellite as it's swinging around the great arc. You realize that the entire time that they're telling you, well, the only time we can launch is on August 8th, 1964. Will give us our closest proximity orbit to the blah, 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 blah. And you start to ask them how they know that. And they're like, well, we're able to predict to an exact degree all the orbits of the planets. And you're like, wow, that's profound. I'm like, yes. Yes, it is. And then they start talking about Planet X. And you're like, well, what about Planet X? Well, Planet X is a hypothetical planet we haven't been able to find, but turns out none of our math works. And so we've decided that it's because there's this missing Planet X. And as soon as we find that planet, it'll fix all our math. But we can't fix the math until Planet X is found, see? Because even though all of velocity in nature works differently, in space something very special happens because a planet doesn't go around the sun in the same speed. No, it goes it does this cranking chicken kick, James. And that's why we were able to achieve these technical tales. And the entire time in this book, he's referencing Percival, I'm going to say Sledge, but that's a different character. Percival something, who in 1903 wrote a book about how we would get to Mars. And that it turns out that the science was right. So even in this book, they're telling you that the reason why science was proven here is because someone who wrote a science fiction book was later proven to be correct. And that's what we have now. And it makes total sense why Musk would be so bold. It makes total sense why everyone would just get bolder about these lies, because the expense of coming back off of that snake oil is impossible. It's impossible. It's a barb. It's like a hook. It's like a fish hook. Someone suggested God isn't totally benevolent. Then I would say that that doesn't fit the normal definition of God. What's your take on the law stuff on Crow? My take on the law stuff is that I had a friend named Andy. We fought over a woman once. And Andy was talking to a guy named Cal Washington. And he was like, yeah, James, I figured out how to turn myself into a trust and put this and this and that and change to this and completely protect myself from the law. And I was like, well, how does it work? He's like, well, you have to take the workshop, and the workshop shows you. I was like, well, what does it actually look like? Well, you find out in the workshop. And so we've been meeting every week, preparing for this. And until we're ready, we're all paying taxes. I couldn't believe that. But until we're ready, we're all paying taxes until we get the paperwork ready. But it's a very long process. The workshop explains that it's a long process. And if you continue to pay for the workshop, you will find your way moving through the ranks of the workshop. And then you will finally be able to stop paying taxes. And that's what I thought. When I heard that, I thought, wow, that sounds like a lot of snake oil. And I thought, well, Andy, how do you know that's real? Have you met anyone that's actually been through it? He's like, well, they're the people that are selling the workshop, of course. Oh. And I realized that really what Andy was buying was he didn't want to be a pussy and not pay taxes. And he didn't want to be a pussy. He wanted to not pay taxes, but he didn't want the threat of not paying taxes. He wanted it to be free. He wanted it to be easy. He wanted it to be snake oil. And I think that's admirable. I think a lot of people want things like that. And I don't think that there's any morality to that at all. And it doesn't make sense that there would be a world that would have that. To me, I'm not as impressed by you not paying taxes because you've took a workshop and now you have a sheet of paper. And now you're not going to pay taxes because you have a sheet of paper. I think you are paying taxes. I think you're supporting the system more than anyone else is. I think the same if you are under the impression that being in the cannabis business and paying all the taxes on that is somehow you like subverting the dominant paradigm or some shit like that. I think you're cuckolding the system is what I think. And I don't want you to agree. Some of you are going through that program. If it gives you confidence, if it gives you electricity, I think you should do it. I believe in the technology of belief. You know that. You should know that. I believe in the technology of belief, which means if it works for you, it works for you. It does. But I don't think that there's anything patriotic or helpful about it, doing it that way. I think if you can not do that because despite the consequences, then you're doing the right thing. I think that the consequences make it the right thing. And if more people were willing to face the consequences, then instead of them taking workshops, they could be doing things like that. They could just stop, right? They could just stop. But if it makes your belief strong, you should do it. You should utilize every placebo you have in your garage. You should do that. And if you can afford it and you enjoy the solace of what those taxes give you, then do that too, right? Because I don't get to define what your morality is. You're looking for a preacher if you're doing that, right? You're looking for someone that's going to tell you, that's gay and that's not gay. You're looking for someone to tell you, tell me what's good, tell me what's bad. And you don't want that either. You have to mind your own morality. And I just made it a little bit more expensive. If you're going the status correction route, maybe I made it a little bit more expensive right now just by saying that. Which, hey, means if you follow that, then it's going to be worth even more to you. It's going to have even more alchemy. So, this is a weird show? It's a weird show, isn't it? I agree with the stance on all the paperwork. What about the affidavits, the mass apocalypse in the world? Is this realm just dojo, no liberty? I think that liberty has dojo built into it because liberty requires you. No one's going to give you liberty. You know that. You didn't used to know that. I didn't used to know that. I used to think people were here to give me liberty. Oh, man. I used to think a lot of stuff like that, you know. I used to think Belinda Carlisle was like the most drop-dead gorgeous woman in the world. And then I met other chicks, like a lot of them, you know. This entire realm is giving you vitriol, and it's giving you the opportunity to paint grace on that mat, right? To calligraphize your vitriol in ways. Think about how everyone is kind of meant to be a farmer in this world. Sure, we can talk about advanced civilization now and how most of us don't farm, but really built into this world is kind of like everyone should be a farmer. And watching the amount of pain a farmer goes through shows you why we're here. Whether it's losing goats, whether it's losing crops, whether it's getting gonorrhea from a tractor, whether it's some kind of weird baling accident, it's just a shit ton of strife and vitriol. And a shit ton of, will you get back up again? Oh, the giant pig snapped your back. Holy shit. Get up. Get up. You're in the frozen mud. You gotta crawl back inside. No one in your family is going to be able to pick you up anyway. They don't even know you fell. So get up, crawl underneath the fence before the pig eats you. Get back home. The vitriol is like built in. And we're living in a world where we think pain is a problem. Where we think this information is too loud and we can find the snake oil to fill our ears with it. And when you start to truly embrace everything where you're at, every piece of it, you really start to enter into this kind of flow state. Start to play these different kind of notes that come out of you. And every one of those, you're going to be using crutches. You're going to be using the technology of belief at your fullest. And I encourage it. I encourage it. A reason why man needs to believe in God is because sometimes man can't believe in himself. When I plant a plant, I have jade. And when I put jade into a new plant, my only hope is that jade will become fully autonomous and realize its own power. Not once am I like, that jade better not get too arrogant. That jade better not try and grow out of its pot, 'cause that'll be disrespectful, and I'll have to bring down the thunder of my name, the Lord. So, no. It's so fucking retarded. Every single piece of this place is about finding that autonomy and strife and learning how to grow inside of it. Right? Learning how to find flow in that. Yeah, and it's not just farming, Matt. I mean, my point is that the environment itself, the seasons, the darkness at night, every single bit of this world has been here to provide you a crucifixion between morality and mortality, between those two axes. That you are crucified between those things, where you're trying to do the right thing and you're trying to survive. You're trying to avoid pain and you're trying to find upliftment. Right? So every single part of it is you working for that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful that you can't get out of it. It's beautiful that your only release is death and you don't know what's on the other side of that. It's beautiful. It's the perfect place to have this epiphysis, this blooming. And you bloom. All of us bloom. And the 144,000, the Georgia Guidestones, the fact that everyone is now convinced that we're going to die because the planet's dying and that there's too many people. What is that doing? It's constricting. It's creating a funnel where only 144,000 can come through the other side. It's creating the natural round-robin vitriol that would be required if you were here to be crucified on that axis. And if that's truly what you would be here for, you would hope that the environment would create these parables of eugenics that are flowing all around you. And that you would have to grow sharper, smarter, more discerning, stronger, more autonomous, more sovereign, more cunning, wider aperture. That those things would be required more and more from you, not less and less. And that if the system was here to extract that kind of pollen from you, then guess what? Dojo Earth is working perfectly. It's so well done. Holy shit, it's well done. Not only is it well done, but you're impressed with how much consent is in this place. You are blown away. The length and breadth that this system is put into place to allow for consent is astounding. It changes your entire cosmology, and you don't even need God. You don't need God because you already understand your prime mission, and you already understand who it is you're here to impress. You're not here to impress God. And I know how nice and sweet it is to think that way. But God could be growing you purely as some kind of vitriolic garlic that He's going to mince and place on His pesto spaghetti. You do not know why God is growing you. But you know that anything that's growing anything else wants it to succeed and would never punish it for doing so. You are here to impress yourself. You are here to find your limits and push past them. And no one else is going to be able to provide you with that kind of thermometer, with that kind of log of where you've been. No one's going to track your ship like you do, which is why you are the person that you were here to impress most. You know when you're being a bitch. You know when you're not. No one else does. They'll mistake all kinds of things. They'll mistake your cowardice for bravery all the time if the situation is right. So you can't even rely on them being impressed with you anyway. It's not real. All right, we got dojo today, 12:30. If you want to come to that, be great. We've started dojo. If it works out, we're going to do dojo every Wednesday night and every Friday day. It's just too hard flipping schedules like that. So if people keep coming, we'll do that. It'd be great. And I can't wait to bring you a high magic stuff. I just it's so weird. The most comfortable position I'm in is moving my back as much as possible. The things that are hardest right now are laying down and sitting down, just staying still. It just hurts. I'd rather just be. I got my dumpster delivered, so I've been like picking up boards and throwing them in the dumpster, and just anything else but being still. So I'm looking really forward to bringing you another high magic, though. We'll probably try one. It's Friday, probably tomorrow night. I would assume. I'm pretty sure that we're all set for that. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Is there any other comments here coming in? Thanks for the super chats. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Your generosity. Oh, I have reestablished the coupons. The genital coupons are back in effect. They're back in effect until Independence Day. So if you want to book and you can type your genitals in, I want you to see the discount, see the power that your genitals give you. It's like 23% off. So, yep, try that out. Let me see. Yeah, got to keep moving. It helps. It really does. It really does. I can't wait to put boots on. If I could just dig this hole. Oh, if I could just dig the hole. I'm going to dig a hole. I'm going to dig a hole. All right, guys. Hope to see you in dojo. And we'll talk to you next time.